Please protect my daughter Anna." The words, scrawled in shaky handwriting, stared up at Barron from the crumpled note he had just picked up. His sharp blue eyes flicked to the man lying on the frozen pavement, his frail body trembling as he clutched his chest. The bitter Chicago wind howled around them, but the bustling crowd barely paused. Phones were out, recording the scene. Yet no one stepped forward to help. Barron's jaw tightened. He wasn't accustomed to moments like this, moments that demanded more than indifference. But something about the man's pale, desperate face and the note in his hand struck a chord deep within him. Kneeling beside the man, Barron placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "Sir, stay with me," he said, his voice firm but tinged with urgency. Turning to his driver, he barked, "Call 911. Now." The command cut through the apathetic hum of the street. The man's lips moved, but no sound came out. His strength was fading fast. Barron tightened his grip, his gaze locked on the stranger's ashen face. "Help is coming," he said softly, the note crumpled tightly in his other hand. "I won't leave you." For the first time in years, Barron felt a responsibility he couldn't ignore. The plea on the note wasn't just words. It was a lifeline, and Barron knew he was the only one willing to hold on. The blare of the ambulance siren echoed through the icy streets as Barron sat in the back of his car staring at the crumpled note in his hand. "Please protect my daughter Anna." The shaky words seemed to burn into his mind. He didn't owe this man anything. He could have stayed on the sidewalk, let the paramedics take over, and gone back to his life of luxury and detachment. But something wouldn't let him. "Follow them," Barron ordered his driver, his voice low but firm. The car slipped into the stream of traffic behind the ambulance. When they reached the hospital, Barron stepped inside, the warmth of the building doing little to ease the chill that had settled in his chest. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, and the sharp smell of antiseptic filled the air. Doctors and nurses moved with urgency, their faces etched with focus. The man was rushed past him on a stretcher, his frail frame barely holding on. A nurse called out his vitals, her tone grim, and Barron's stomach twisted. For reasons he couldn't fully understand, he felt connected to this stranger. Barron followed at a distance, watching as the man disappeared behind a set of double doors marked "Emergency." He stood there, unsure of what to do. Part of him wanted to leave, to shake off the strange weight that had settled on his shoulders. But then he looked down at the note in his hand, his fingers smoothing the crumpled paper. Anna. Who was she? Was she alone? Was she safe? The questions gnawed at him, each one deepening his resolve. The doctor emerged minutes later, her face calm but serious. "Are you family?" she asked, her eyes scanning Barron's expensive coat and polished demeanor. "No," he replied, his voice steady. "But I found him. He's alive?" the doctor said, her tone clipped but not unkind. "Barely. Severe malnutrition, exhaustion. He was holding on by a thread." Barron nodded, his jaw tightening. "Did he say anything about his daughter?" The doctor frowned. "Daughter? No, he hasn't spoken since he came in." Barron's grip on the note tightened. He glanced at the hallway where the man was now fighting for his life. Leaving now would be easy, logical even, but every instinct screamed at him that this wasn't just about the man. It was about Anna. He slipped the note into his pocket, his decision made. He didn't know why he cared, but he did, and he wasn't going to walk away. Barron stared at the ID in his hand, the man's desperate plea still echoing in his mind. "Please protect my daughter Anna." He gave the address to his driver, his voice firm. "Take me there." The car weaved through Chicago's darker streets, leaving the gleaming city behind for crumbling buildings and shadows. When they arrived, the apartment complex was barely standing, its walls cracked and windows fogged with grime. Barron climbed the creaking stairs, finding the number scratched into a peeling door. He knocked. Silence. He knocked again, harder this time. The door creaked open, revealing a small girl clutching a worn-out stuffed bunny. "Anna?" Barron asked softly. She nodded hesitantly, her wide eyes filled with fear. Her clothes were thin, her face pale, her small frame shivering in the cold. "Your dad's in the hospital," Barron said gently. "He asked me to find you. You're safe now." Her lip trembled. "Is he okay?" "He's going to be fine," Barron promised. She stepped back, letting him in. The apartment was freezing and bare, a mattress on the floor, an empty fridge, and silence that spoke of struggle. Barron clenched his fists, glancing back at Anna, who sat on the mattress, clutching her bunny like a lifeline. "You don't have to worry anymore," he said, his voice steady but filled with quiet determination. "I'll take care of you." As Anna's eyes softened, Barron made a vow. Whatever it took, he wouldn't let her face this world alone. The cold silence of the apartment was broken by a sharp knock at the door. Barron froze, his instincts kicking in. Anna clutched her stuffed bunny tightly, her wide eyes darting toward him. "Stay here," he whispered, his voice calm but firm. He approached the door cautiously, peering through the peephole. Two men stood outside, their faces shadowed under dark hoods. One of them knocked again, harder this time, the force rattling the fragile doorframe. "We're looking for Ethan," one of them barked, his voice low and dangerous. Barron's jaw tightened. "Ethan." Anna's father. He didn't answer, hoping they would leave, but the men didn't budge. "We know he lives here," the second man said, "and we're not leaving until we get what we came for." Barron's heart pounded, but his mind was steady. He moved quickly, grabbing Anna's coat and whispering, "We need to leave, quietly." She nodded, her small hands trembling as she followed him toward the back window. They slipped out into the alley, Barron shielding Anna from the biting wind as the men's voices echoed behind them. He hurried her into his car, glancing over his shoulder. The men hadn't seen them. Yet. "Drive," Barron ordered his driver, his voice sharp. As the car sped away, Barron's gaze shifted to Anna, huddled in the back seat. Her fear was palpable, but she stayed silent, clutching her bunny as though it could protect her. The family estate was a stark contrast to the grim apartment. Tucked away in the woods, it was quiet and secure, a sanctuary from the chaos they'd just escaped. Barron led Anna inside, her small feet hesitating at the door. "It's okay," he said, kneeling to her level. "You're safe here." Anna nodded slowly, but her eyes darted around, still wary. Barron watched her disappear into the warmth of the estate before turning his attention to the tattered bag they had grabbed from her apartment. Inside, he found a small stack of photos and crumpled papers. One photo caught his eye, a younger Ethan, standing with a group of men in military uniforms. Their faces were tense, their eyes haunted. Another showed Ethan holding a baby, Anna, he realized, with a woman whose smile was radiant but tired. The papers told a darker story. There were letters written in hurried handwriting, mentions of betrayal, danger, and something called Project Exodus. Barron's stomach churned. Ethan wasn't just a struggling father, he was a man running from something dangerous. And now, so were they. Later that night, as Barron sat by the fire, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. A cold voice greeted him. "You've made a mistake." "Who is this?" Barron demanded. "Walk away while you still can," the voice said, calm but menacing. or you and the girl won't make it through this." The line went dead. Barron's grip tightened on the phone, his mind racing. Whoever was after Ethan wouldn't stop, and now they were coming for him and Anna. Barron glanced toward the hallway where Anna was quietly drawing in a room. The weight of responsibility bore down on him, but his resolve hardened. Whatever this was, he wouldn't let them take her. The stillness of the estate was shattered by the crunch of tires on gravel. Barron jolted awake, the faint glow of the fire illuminating his tense expression. His instincts flared as he moved to the window, pulling the curtain just enough to see the shadowy figures emerging from a black SUV parked at the edge of the property. They were here. His chest tightened, but he moved quickly. Grabbing his phone, he dialed his investigator. "They've found us," Barron said, his voice low but urgent. "Lock everything down, I'm on my way," came the reply. Barron hurried to Anna's room where she slept soundly, her small hands clutching the stuffed bunny. He gently shook her awake. "Anna," he whispered, his voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "We're playing a game, hide and seek. Remember our secret spot?" She blinked sleepily, then nodded, slipping out of bed and padding toward the hidden crawl space they'd discovered earlier. "Stay quiet, no matter what," he told her. She nodded again, her trust in him absolute. The men moved quickly, their boots crunching through the snow as they approached the front door. A loud bang echoed through the estate as they forced their way inside. Barron stood waiting, gripping the only weapon he could find, a heavy fireplace poker. "This is private property," Barron said, stepping into view. His tone was calm but commanding. One of the men smirked. "We're not here for pleasantries. Where's the girl?" Barron's grip tightened. "You're not getting her." The first man lunged, but Barron swung the poker with precision, catching him off guard. The second man rushed forward, and the fight quickly turned chaotic. Barron wasn't trained for this, but desperation fueled him. He fought with everything he had, dodging blows and using his surroundings to his advantage. Suddenly, headlights flooded the room as another vehicle skidded to a stop outside. Barron's investigator burst in with two uniformed officers, guns drawn. "Drop your weapons," the lead officer barked. The intruders hesitated before raising their hands. As they were cuffed and led outside, one of them turned to Barron, his eyes cold. "This isn't over," he sneered. "You have no idea what you're involved in." Barron watched the SUV disappear down the driveway, his body still tense from the confrontation. He turned to his investigator. What did he mean? The investigator handed Barron a file he'd been compiling. Ethan wasn't just a whistleblower. He uncovered something much bigger, something people will kill to keep buried. Barron sat in the estate study, the flash drive resting in his hand like a ticking time bomb. The file from his investigator painted a grim picture. Ethan wasn't just running, he was a whistleblower. He had uncovered corruption in a botched covert operation, a truth so dangerous that powerful figures wanted him silenced for good. "This drive has everything," the investigator said, his tone serious. "Names, details, evidence. But if you expose it, they'll come after you and Anna with everything they have." Barron's gaze shifted to Anna, sitting in the next room, coloring quietly. She was just a child, caught in a fight she didn't ask for. He clenched his jaw, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. Doing nothing meant letting Ethan die, letting Anna suffer, and letting those responsible win. "What happens if I don't act?" Barron asked, his voice low. "They'll bury the truth and Anna loses everything." Barron's grip tightened on the flash drive. He glanced toward Anna, her innocence a stark contrast to the darkness closing in. "I won't let that happen." His mind was made up. Barron knew the risk, but he couldn't turn away now. As the investigator left to set things in motion, Barron knelt beside Anna, brushing a hand over her hair. "It's going to be okay," he promised. But inside, he braced himself. The storm was just beginning. Barron's fingers trembled as he hit send, uploading the evidence from the flash drive to trusted journalists. He knew there was no turning back now. The quiet estate seemed to hold its breath, but his gut told him it wouldn't last. "Are we going to be okay?" Anna's small voice broke the silence. "We will be," Barron promised, though his heart pounded. "Stay strong for me, okay?" As the files uploaded, headlights pierced the darkness outside. Moments later, the sound of breaking glass shattered the stillness. Barron turned to Anna. "Hide. Now." She slipped into their secret crawl space just as the door burst open and 3 men stormed inside. "Where's the drive?" one growled. "You're too late," Barron said coldly. "It's already gone." Fury flashed in their eyes, and one lunged toward him. Barron fought back with everything he had, grabbing a lamp to defend himself. Chaos erupted, and the odds seemed hopeless until the roar of sirens cut through the tension. Police stormed the house, forcing the attackers to surrender. One sneered as he was led away. "This isn't over," he spat. The silence that followed was deafening. Barron called softly, "Anna." She emerged from her hiding spot, her small frame shaking. He knelt to embrace her, his voice steady despite the lingering fear. "It's over. You're safe." Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "I was so scared." "So was I," Barron admitted, holding her tightly. His phone buzzed, and he hesitated before answering. "Barron?" The voice on the other end said. "Ethan's awake." Relief flooded him as he looked at Anna. "Your dad's okay," he told her, his voice breaking into a smile. Hope finally replaced fear, but Barron knew the battle wasn't truly over. The storm they'd unleashed was only beginning. The courtroom was silent as the judge delivered the verdict. The evidence Barron had leaked to the media had ignited a nationwide investigation, bringing powerful figures to trial. One by one, the names tied to the covert operation were exposed. Those who had hunted Ethan and silenced others were now facing long prison sentences. Justice had been served. In the back of the courtroom, Ethan sat quietly, his hands gripping Anna's as tears welled in his eyes. For years he had been painted as a traitor, a man who had lost everything in his fight for the truth. But today his name was cleared. His bravery and sacrifices had been recognized publicly and his reputation restored. Barron stood nearby, watching the father and daughter with quiet satisfaction. He hadn't sought praise or recognition for what he had done, but seeing the relief on Ethan's face and the hope in Anna's eyes was enough. The following weeks brought a wave of healing. News outlets reported Ethan's story with headlines hailing him as a whistleblower who had risked everything to expose corruption. Barron's role in protecting Anna and ensuring justice didn't go unnoticed, but he remained humble, refusing interviews and choosing instead to focus on the family he had come to care for deeply. One evening, Barron visited Ethan and Anna in their new apartment, a warm and welcoming home far from the danger they had left behind. Anna ran to greet him, holding a drawing she had made. A picture of herself, her father, and Barron standing under a bright sun. "You're our hero," Anna said, smiling up at him. Barron knelt to her level, his voice soft but firm. "No, Anna. Your dad is the real hero. I just kept a promise." Later, as Barron prepared to leave, Ethan pulled him aside. "I can't thank you enough," Ethan said, his voice steady. "You gave me my life back, and my daughter's future." Barron nodded. "You deserved the truth to come out. Now it's time to focus on what matters, being there for Anna." Ethan's eyes glistened with gratitude. "We wouldn't have made it without you." Standing outside in the cool evening air, Barron reflected on how much had changed. He wasn't just the son of privilege anymore. He had found purpose, compassion, and a sense of fulfillment he had never known. Anna and Ethan's story wasn't just about survival. It was about hope, courage, and the power of doing what's right, even when it's hard. As Barron walked away, he felt lighter than he had in years. He had made a difference, and that, he realized, was more valuable than anything money could buy. Sometimes, a single moment can change the course of a life, or many lives. Barron didn't set out to be a hero. He was just a man who stopped to help, someone who chose compassion over indifference. That simple choice set off a chain reaction, protecting Anna, exposing corruption, and helping Ethan reclaim his life and dignity. While this story is fictional, its message is real. It reminds us of the extraordinary power of kindness, courage, and standing up for what's right, even when it feels impossible. Every one of us has the capacity to make a difference, no matter how small the action may seem. What would you do if faced with a choice like Barron's? How far would you go to protect someone in need or fight for the truth? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share a story in the comments about a moment of kindness you've given or received. Let's create a space for hope and inspiration, where these ripples of compassion can grow even bigger. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt tales. These stories aren't just about entertainment. They're about reminding us all of the good we're capable of. Thank you for being part of this journey with us. Together, let's keep spreading kindness and positivity. Until next time, take care and never underestimate the power of one small act of compassion.